Also in the news, nothing really new. Another shooting at Oxford High School in Southeast Michigan. Calling it a rampage. 911 calls came in just before 1 p.m. Officers responded to the scene within minutes, arresting the gunman who shot 11 people, including a teacher. We don't know why. We don't know why he went crazy and shot all those people. However, the gun, a 9mm pistol with 15 round magazines was purchased by the suspect's father last week, 4 days before the shooting. Well, isn't that convenient? Well, I'm dismayed. I have problems. I don't know how to cope with them. I wonder where I might find a gun to see if that will solve my problems. It's just a little bit disappointing, and perhaps a lot shocking. Authorities identified the students who were killed as 14-year-old Hannah St. Juliana, 16-year-old Tate Meyer, and 17-year-old Madison Baldwin. 3 of the wounded teenage victims, 2 girls and a boy, were in critical condition on Tuesday evening. 1 student was in serious condition, 3 students were stable. The 47-year-old teacher was released from the hospital. Now, my question to you now, and ever since Sandy Hook, is this. What are we going to do about this? And we already know the answer. Nothing will be done, because really, when it comes down to it, nobody cares except those who were close to the people who died. That's it. I've resigned myself to that fact in America, that America is in love with the gun, and even more enamored with the bullet. And life is cheap, and people move on from who they are and what they want to become. And that is the fate of living in a modern world. You gotta watch your back and you gotta watch your front, because something's coming for you. And if the slaughter of kindergartners in Sandy Hook is not enough to get politicians to step forward and say, this is enough, let's find a way to protect our schools from these people who get guns, then nothing will ever be convincing enough to get this solved. So I guess we just have to live with it. That there are people around us who go into schools and shoot kids. That's the life we lead. That is the life that we want. Because if we didn't want it, it wouldn't be happening. Twitter made the news yesterday. With a sort of indefensible new policy about protecting people's privacy. And you read about this and you think, how is this going to really work? And it's a long policy about we're going to protect people. You can't dox people. You can't reveal where they live. You can't put their phone numbers on your Twitter feed. But the most important part of it appears to be that you cannot post photos, images of people if you do not have their express written consent to post that photograph. If I'm understanding the policy right, it's a little confusing. And this is all in the name of safety. So this feels a lot like TSA drama, where we go to the airport, we pat you down and make you take off your shoes, and if we need to screen you more deeply, then we really pat you down in private, and you take all your shampoo out, and if it's in too large a bottle, then you have to throw it away. That's called safety theater. And I get the feeling this is kind of what Twitter is doing too with their theater, by disallowing images of people. And this is what Twitter says. Sharing images is an important part of folks', not people, folks' experience on Twitter. But people should have a choice in determining whether or not a photo is shared publicly. To that end, we are expanding the scope of our private information policy. Well, that's interesting, but what do you do about people who are in a crowd or in public, and you're taking a picture, and they happen to be there? What do? You take it down? You blur their face? You don't know who they are because it's at a crowd, at a basketball game, a football game. You're going to blur out the entire crowd? I guess so, according to Twitter. Because if someone happens to see themselves in your photograph and they don't like it, they contact Twitter, and Twitter will remove your tweet. I think they take the whole thing down. They just don't remove the photograph. They take your tweet down, your memory down, and remove it from sight. And some people says, well, that doesn't. Who cares? Because Twitter is ephemeral. You post a tweet, and 15 minutes later it's gone and forgotten, and nobody even knows it's there, which is true. However, as we know, politically, tweets can be very powerful and very impactful. And you can do searches on previous tweets and see what people said and hold them to it and be woke and punish them for thoughts and feelings they had 10 years ago. So there is danger in the removal, I suppose. So beginning today, I think that was yesterday, we will not allow the sharing of private media, such as images or videos of private individuals without their consent. Publishing people's private info is also prohibited under this policy, as is threatening or incentivizing others to do so, and the same. So let's take this to the next step as we play with this intellectually and perhaps even emotionally. This Twitter policy. The Michigan shooting yesterday. There were kids who were filming, videoing, sheltering in place, hiding from the gunman. Okay? And classmates are in the video, and it's posted, hey, we're inside, posted on Twitter, hey, we're inside this room, the gunman's outside, there's a bullet through the door, send help. All right, that's newsworthy, that's interesting, that's part of the historical record. But there are people in that video who, for whatever reason, may decide, I don't want my face in your video. So later they see, hey, remember that famous video from inside our classroom? My face is in it, and I don't want to be in it. So Twitter, take it down. And as I understand it, it seems that Twitter would take it down, because someone who did not get permission to post the video of them locked in your room with a gunman outside. And I guess that one person can overrule the value of that experience or the value of that as a news item. Even if everyone else in the room says, yes, put it on Twitter. Get it out there. We want to be safe. We want this to be part of the historical record of what happened to us in case we all die. And one person can say, nah, my face is there, so take down the whole video. Now we go to the next, even wackier extreme of, let's say, an attacker bursts into the room, gun blazing. The kids are videoing the person as their last testament to what they saw before the bullets entered their brains. And before they die, they click send, and it's all over the internet. Photographs, images, video, on the internet, on the Twitter. And later, after the suspect is caught, brought to justice, locked up, through his lawyer, he goes to Twitter and says, all those videos and photographs of me shooting everybody, I find that a violation of my privacy. And I want you to remove them. And as I understand it, that is the Twitter policy. The murdering gunman doesn't want his face and his video on Twitter, so Twitter will remove it. Doesn't matter if it's part of the news. Doesn't matter if his kids were killed who were videoing him. Take it down. Murderers have more privacy than you do dead in your grave. So these are things we should think about moving forward in our lives.